Policy profile configuration starts with policy configuration. The first step in policy configuration is to enable or disable SSL monitor mode. This monitor application performs preliminary screening of inline traffic and reports on complete or incomplete sessions which could affect decryption. Because incomplete sessions typically caused by asymmetrical traffic flow cannot be decrypted, those sessions will be dropped by GigaSmart. When enabled monitor mode is on and SSL decryption is off, use this mode during initial setup to verify that sessions have both a request and a response and can therefore be decrypted. When disabled monitor mode is off and SSL decryption is on, use this mode during normal operations. When set to inline, then both monitor mode and SSL decryption are on. This dual operation mode is very CPU intensive, so it should only be used for troubleshooting. For normal operations, we can set this to disabled. The default action configuration represents a catch-all for when none of the other profile settings match this encrypted session. In order to avoid violating confidentiality laws and organizational policies, the default setting for this parameter is no decrypt, so that packets are forwarded or bypassed still in their encrypted state. The URL cache miss action is used when URL categorization is configured. This setting determines what happens to the session for an unknown URL if the requested website is not found in the approximately 1 million site local file held by GigaSmart or the cache of dynamic lookups. When set to decrypt, then this connection to an unknown URL category is decrypted, even if it is later discovered to be from a category which should not be decrypted. For compliance reasons, the URL cache miss action of no decrypt is the default setting. The defer option is selected to suspend the intercepted SSL session setup handshake for a period of up to 10 seconds until the category is known and the correct action can be taken. When the deferral period expires, if the category is still unknown, then the default action is taken. If an inline tool port has link go down or the inline tool fails a heartbeat test, then the tool fail action setting determines whether that tool failure causes inline traffic to be bypassed or dropped. For most networks, an internet connectivity outage is worse than a temporary loss of some security, so bypass is usually preferred. The decrypt tool bypass configuration is only used during troubleshooting. If there is a question about whether the inline tool is behaving correctly, then this setting can be used to cause decrypted packets to be immediately returned to GigaSmart for re-encryption, and the packets are not sent to the inline tool. The no decrypt tool bypass default configuration is to forward packets to the inline tool when a no decrypt rule is matched. If the checkbox is marked, then packets are instead bypassed directly through the production link, and the inline tool does not receive them. Bypass is typically used to avoid wasting tool CPU cycles when the inline tool cannot offer value when inspecting encrypted packets. When mapping rules cause unencrypted packets to be included in the traffic stream reaching inline SSL decryption, then the non-SSL TCP traffic tool bypass determines whether these packets should be bypassed directly through the production link or forwarded to the inline tool. The default is to forward to the inline tool. High availability is disabled by default. This feature should only be enabled for active, standby, redundant inline network groups, which may initiate a high availability hot standby failover. Under normal conditions, GigaSmart expects all packets within a single session to always come from same inline network port pair. When enabled, GigaSmart monitors session traffic and will follow the traffic source to another inline network port pair if an active session is failed over to another inline network port pair in an inline network group. Do not use this for an active configuration. Network Group Multiple Entry is disabled by default. This feature is similar to high availability, but intended for situations where the same packet may be seen twice. When enabled, GigaSmart monitors session traffic and will ensure that packets from the same session are forwarded through whichever link each packet is received on from within an inline network group. This situation may occur with unusual configurations, such as requiring all internet-bound traffic to pass through a single proxy even if parallel links are present. The Start TLS protocol can cause a previously unencrypted session to negotiate and then begin using encryption at any time. If mid-session encryption is suspected or expected, then Start TLS can be enabled. But since it causes GigaSmart to check every packet for the start of an encryption negotiation, it will impact GigaSmart performance. Disabled by default, the Start TLS feature is enabled by typing a port number into the field for Start TLS port. Up to 20 comma-separated port numbers may be entered and monitored.